Was that really necessary? Honestly, I mean, it's already bad enough that the crosses. It's already bad enough that she's dreaming about being stuck like a puppet, but then she's got to wake up from another dream, and it's one of those. And the crosses are all turning up like for some reason like penises, and then you have the old guy coming at her. Like, talk about a bad dream, a sleeping experience that young girl's gonna have that night. But I'm just on a tangent right now. Welcome to Time About the Movies, everybody. Today we are taking a look at the 3 films of June 10th, 2016, or as I'd like to consider it, 3 movies that are much better than that god-awful piece of shit Animal Farm movie, which I just reviewed. Though, to be fair, every movie on this show and going forward is much better than Animal Farm. If you don't know, I just reviewed the Animal Farm movie for talking about the movies, which by the time you watch this, it'll be up tomorrow. But if you're watching this tomorrow on Sunday, May the 4th, hey, there you go. Sunday, May the 3rd, excuse me. Then you'll know what I'm talking about. But I've already wasted a minute of your time. Let's get to the movies. Let's talk about the movies of this weekend, starting with the biggest of the new releases, The Conjuring 2, the sequel to The Conjuring, and of course the 3rd installment of this universe if you include Annabelle. We have Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga returning as paranormal investigators Ed and Lorraine Warren, who are following this family in England who are experiencing poltergeist activities at the Enfield Council House in 1977, which later becomes referred to as the Enfield Poltergeist. And the man that we just saw in that trailer is the Crooked Man, who was a character they were supposedly going to do a spin-off movie with, but they never really took up on that. We haven't really heard much about that movie, and it turns out, I was reading out here, that project was canceled a couple of years later, but there was a spin-off that did come from this with The Nun. We'll touch on that in a couple of years' time, which, yeah, kind of like with Annabelle, starts off kind of on a rough note, but sequel wasn't too bad. But as far as this movie goes, this is a really good sequel. I think this did a very good job of upping the ante with the main characters, Vera Farmiga, Patrick Wilson, who really do a good job of making you so invested in the characters of Ed and Lorraine Warren. Really, a lot of what made the first movie work is in this film and then some. I think they did a really good job of upping the ante in terms of the storytelling. The scares are much more intense in this one here. It's clear that they're not just redoing this first movie all over again. They are taking a lot of chances with it, and I think they did a pretty good job with it. I think James Wan did a very good job returning back to the director's chair for this. And, yeah, they did a good job of upping the ante, expanding on the universe they have here, and you know, overall, the Conjuring universe in general has been really solid. There's been a couple of movies that weren't that great, but at the same time, you do get your money's worth with these movies. There is a lot of really good, fun stuff in this movie in terms of the atmosphere, the tension, the scare factor in here. The scares in these movies are usually really good, and this one really does take the cake with that. I think they did a really good job with the sequel in general and keep you invested in this franchise and want to see more of what they're going to do with it in the next films to come. But yeah, overall, it's a really good movie. It's very good. I would say it's a little bit better than the first movie is. Not by that much, but still, you know, that's rare to say about a horror sequel, that you could say it's better than the original film. And this one really does a good job of upping the ante and making it really work in general. It's a really good film. So let's go ahead now and move on to our next movie, which I can't remember which one it is. Is it Warcraft first or Now You See Me Too? I think it's Warcraft.
We'll protect the kingdom. You and I. We will try. My friend. Warcraft, rated PG-13.
And as you can see, it was indeed Warcraft, which, on the one hand, it's one of the better video game adaptations, but on the other hand, not so much. We'll talk about it here. It's, of course, based off the World of Warcraft franchise, and it centers around the peaceful realm of Azeroth, standing on the brink of war as its civilization faces a fearsome race of invaders, orc warriors fleeing their dying home to colonize another. As a portal opens to connect the two worlds, one army faces destruction, the other faces extinction. From opposing sides, 2 heroes are sent on a collision course that will decide the fate of their family, their people, and their home. And I'll just say it right off the bat, I've never played World of Warcraft in my lifetime, because it was just never really a personal interest for me. I mean, I would have really never have had the time to put into that game. I mean, really, from the people that I know that played that game, that's taking not just minutes, hours, days, weeks of your time. Like, there's times when you'll be playing for several hours, and like, some people have found ways, like, when they go to one place or another, they can go ahead and take a quick 5-minute shower if they need to. I mean, that's really what it is with that game. It's just like, it feels more complicated, but if I played it long enough, I probably would have gotten into it overall, but it was just not really a personal interest for me. And bottom line, I'm more than likely going to get something from the game wrong in this, so please bear with me on this, but there has been a lot of criticisms to this film, calling it the big bomb of the summer, which, in a way, it was kind of true. It didn't live up to the real potential that the film could have been, but they were saying this before the movie even got released, and the movie that was doomed to fail right as that first trailer was released. It was already being compared to the 2016's equivalent to Battlefield Earth, which I've seen Battlefield Earth. This is no Battlefield Earth. This isn't a bad movie, by any means. It almost gets away with being a good film and one of the better video game adaptations, except, well, again, we'll get into it as we go along here, but a lot of the movie does generally work. The acting overall is pretty solid. You've got people like Travis Fimmel, Paula Patton, Dominic Cooper, Ben Foster, and Ben Schnetzer giving some really good performances in here. The voice work overall by Toby Kebbell, Robert Kaczynski, and Daniel Wu is really good. Nobody's really going ridiculously over the top with it. Everybody's staying restrained for the most part. There are a couple of legitimately good moments. There's a great moment where Kebbell's character Duratan and his wife Draka have a son, and it's legitimately well handled. You can all actually do end up feeling for these characters and the situations that they do find themselves in. And they put a good job in the visual effects department too. Like with the Angry Birds movie, this is produced by the company that put the game out, Blizzard Entertainment. And they did a pretty good job of making the jump from video game to movie, and it works very well. The appeal to make the movie as close to the game itself works very well here. And the effects look pretty good. The action sequences are nicely done too. Granted, there's a little too much Lord of the Rings-ish elements to it, but for the most part, it's pretty good. But again, we'll get to some of the negatives in just a little bit here, but everything seems to be going good here. It's close to being that good of a video game adaptation, so where does it all go wrong? Kind of with everything else. Like, first off, as great as some of the visual effects are, some of the aspects of the effects were not that great, specifically the teeth on Paula Patton's character. And pretty much all the female orcs looked pretty terrible. Patton seriously looks like those monster teeth were glued onto her mouth. Like, there's literally scenes where you watch Patton's character's teeth, and it looks like they super glue. You can see the super glue they put on her teeth. It looked pretty bad. I mean, it also didn't help that it didn't help that you could see she sounded like she had just gone through some serious teeth surgery with just before filming these scenes. Like, you know how they give you Novocaine, you know, when they're working on your teeth, and then you have to deal with it for a couple of days, and like it literally sounds like you're like this or something like that. But yeah, that's what it literally felt like. Maybe not that loud, but you get the idea. You know, you can't understand what they're saying. Like that was real distracting to me. Some of the characters are so cliched and stock in terms of their actions, it's not even funny. You got the handsome leader with a troubled past. You got the characters who work under the bad guy who have that what have we become mentality to him. You got the guy with the powers who's going to end up double-crossing somebody in the end. You got the female heroine who's supposed to show everybody she can be just as much of a fighter as the boys are. And you got the rookie who has to prove his worth towards the end. A lot of these characters have been in other movies, and it just gets so annoying so quickly. I mean, the acting's good, but that doesn't make the characters themselves well written. Speaking of things that weren't well written, the biggest problem with the movie is that it really does destroy the film. It's the story. This is one of the worst written blockbusters I've ever seen in my life. Not only do we get cliched riddled moments like knowing exactly where characters are going to die, what characters are going to double cross the other, you know, what characters are going to have to step up and prove their worth, but some of the story elements make no sense whatsoever. Towards the end of the movie, there's a part where Paula Patton's character is being told by the king to kill him, saying it is of no use for both of them to die unless restore her honor with the orcs. There's just one problem with the plan. It wouldn't do him any good to do this anyway, because think about this. What good does killing off a king do in the situation? Nothing. Also, why the fuck would she want to go back with these orcs that enslaved her and made her a prisoner just because she kills the king? That means they're all good now? It's just like, I really do feel like they did this to sequel bait. It really does feel like they're going down that path, and it really does feel like that's all they were trying to do here. It would have been a twist if the king had asked her to kill her, but she decided to kill herself, like cause a chain reaction among the orcs themselves, and maybe Duratan's beliefs were right. You know, it makes the orcs go against their tyrannical leader in the hands of a better rider. It could have worked, but not in this movie. We got to sequel bait as much as we can, which, fortunately, they didn't sequel bait. They didn't make a sequel, but the worst aspect about this is that it does rip off a lot of Lord of the Rings. I mean, this thing steals so much from Lord of the Rings, from the way that many scenes are shot, to the action scenes, to literally stealing characters from Lord of the Rings. I swear to God, there's one character who I swear looks like Gimli from Lord of the Rings. Like, a few differences aside, it's Gimli from Lord of the Rings. I mean, this thing literally looks like that. They didn't even try to make him look different, with the exception of, you know, put him in armor and make his nose a little bit bigger. That's fucking Gimli. They didn't even try to write an original story here. They even go as far as ripping off the story of Moses as well as Superman by having Durden's child being placed in a moon and floating away as the baby's mother gets killed. Like, they're not trying whatsoever. And, like, the story gets so confusing on who's on whose side. Like, I couldn't tell you who the real bad guys were supposed to be because the movie's so confused in the story department. You don't know who the real threat of the movie is supposed to be. And that's the biggest problem with the movie. The script is awful. They were almost there. They were so damn close to making this work. Everything was going in the direction, but that story is so poorly written, so cliched riddle. It's so lamely represented. It's like Blizzard really thought story doesn't matter as long as you can make this look close to the game as you can. And I'm sorry, you fucked up on that part. You made the one mistake that a lot of these video game movies do, and that is the fact that you try to make the movie look like the video game, and then don't even bother with the script at all. I mean, this... I don't think I need to say this, but we might as well continue on with this. But story plays the most important part of a movie. We have to believe in the story more than the visual effects so that we can have the emotional impact of what's going on. In other words, visual effects don't make the fucking movie. Have I made my point, Hollywood? Obviously not, because you're not even caring about the visual effects anymore because you're going to AI now, Disney. But I digress. It's a shame because this is directed by Duncan Jones. And Duncan Jones was a great director who made stuff like Moon and Source Code. I mean, he did his best to make this work, but he couldn't handle such a poorly written story to make this work. This thing comes this close. This close. Have you got the point? To being a really good video game movie. It's got great visuals, it's got great action, great acting, great emotional moments, but the script is a disaster. Warcraft tries its best, but it just can't connect because of that botch story. And yet the search for the great video game movie rages on. I thought we were this close with the Angry Birds movie and this, but not quite yet. We're gonna get there, though. Don't worry, we still got a couple of years before somebody finally realizes how to make a good video game movie, which... I mean, technically, Angry Birds movie was the first one to really do that, but, I mean, it's the first one to actually get it right, but most people passed up on that one, but the search goes on. The search is going on. So, why did I even bother bringing it up there? I don't know, but, I'm at a loss for words right now because of what I saw earlier today with Animal Farm. I'm going to let that go right now, but my brain's still wrapped around how bad that movie is, but... Here's a movie that's bad, but certainly nowhere near as bad as Animal Farm. Now You See Me Too.
It's simply my move. Next one is yours.
And I hope you were paying attention.
Now You See Me Too, rated PG-13.
Yet another continuation of the franchise that really does not need to exist because the first movie was not that good to begin with. I mean, they're literally doing the same thing that they did in the first movie overall. I mean, that's how bad this movie is. The plot has the Four Horsemen, once again played by Jesse Eisenberg, Mark Ruffalo, Woody Harrelson, and Dave Franco. I'm sorry, Isla Fisher's not in this movie. Apparently this movie was not good enough to have her back for this one. Come to think of it, I don't think she came back for the third film, did she? No, she does come back for the third film. Like, I mean, that's how you know that nobody really wants to do this. If Isla Fisher is too good is too good for your movie, then you know that this is probably something that you need to step away from. And their leader, Dylan Rhodes, played by Mark Ruffalo, who was recruited by Walter Mabry, played by Daniel Radcliffe, a criminal mastermind, to steal a data chip. And if anything was going to make me at least somewhat invested in this, it was probably going to be Daniel Radcliffe doing something outside of Harry Potter. But, I mean, yeah, he's the best thing about the movie, but the problem is, the movie itself is just nothing. There's just emptiness. Like, yeah, you've got a lot of cool ideas here with the magicians who are also like, you know, also like steal from people, steal from banks and all that. But at the same time, the same problems from the first movie come into play in this movie here is that you got a cool idea, just a really bad execution. And really, there's just way too many characters to get invested in. Because not only that, you have Lizzie Kaplan coming in here as kind of like the Isla Fisher replacement. Sanaa Lathan, Michael Caine, Morgan Freeman. And then you add Daniel Radcliffe into the mix, and yeah, once you add all these people in there, there's way too many characters for you to get invested in. Yeah, the way they're doing this stuff is cool and all, but have a point. Have a reason for us to be there, and there's just nothing about this that makes you really want to be there again for this. And just like, these movies just don't really do it for me. They're boring. Yeah, on a visual level, they look impressive, and sometimes the magic looks really cool, but again, kind of like with Warcraft, if your script's not that good, what's the point of even doing it? Honestly. Yeah, I never got into these movies. I never thought they were any good, and I try my best to go into these movies with a little bit of confidence that maybe they'll get it right this time around, and it's just not there with these movies. These are not very good films. I know I'm very much the lone person on that opinion, but I'm sorry, they're just not good films, plain and simple. These Now You See Me movies are not that good, and Now You See Me 2 definitely is not one that I would say, no, you don't. I don't even know what's going on with me today. I think Animal Farm really did fuck up my brain today because I'm losing it at the most octane times of this whole thing. I don't even know if I'm using that word correctly, but maybe I need to see a really good animated movie to take my mind off that piece of shit. And luckily, next time on Time About the Movies, we will get that movie. The sequel that a lot of people really didn't expect that we really needed to see, but hey, they actually did something with it and turned out a really good movie. Finding Dory, the sequel to Finding Nemo, comes out. We'll take a look at that. And we have a really good comedy starring Dwayne Johnson and Kevin Hart, Central Intelligence. So, 2 movies to take a look at. We'll take a look at those movies coming up tomorrow on the show. Hopefully my brain will be in a much better mindset than it is right now. But, with all that said, thank you so much for watching this. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please go ahead and do me the honors of hitting that like button, that subscribe button, and that notification button. Also, don't forget to check out our playlist, and don't forget to check out the previous episode we did. So with all that said, whether it's in the past, the present, or the future, I will see you at the movies. Take care.